We interrupt the internet with breaking news.
This just in, Indonesia is shipping Komodo dragons to Japan and getting red pandas and giraffes back, because apparently diplomacy now runs through the zoo gift shop. Disney may have made a better business out of churros than Disney Plus, which means Wall Street got mugged by cinnamon. And scientists found fossils showing complex animals showed up earlier than expected, so evolution was doing weird pilot episodes before the real series started. Good evening, everybody. Great to have you here. I tried to restore a little dignity to civilization today. Civilization responded with diplomatic reptiles, weaponized pastry, and prehistoric haunted ravioli. I am Bob. I am composed. I am professional. Those are the three lies I like to start with. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a 3-round main card. In the blue corner, Bob, overprepared, underprotected, and already filing a protest with the snack industry. In the red corner, the news, fresh, weird, and once again testing positive for disrespect. Indonesia is sending 2 Komodo dragons to Japan for breeding, and Japan is sending back red pandas and giraffes, which is either conservation policy or the weirdest trade deadline deal of all time. Let me say this slowly so my brain has a chance to sue somebody. Indonesia is sending Komodo dragons to Japan. Japan is sending back red pandas and giraffes. That is not diplomacy. That is 2 zookeepers with a fantasy league and no supervision. Strong opening touch from Bob. He saw the angle, stepped in, and immediately turned foreign policy into ESPN for people who smell like hay. I love how official they made it sound. This will promote biodiversity awareness. No, someone in a blazer said, "What if we did geopolitics but adorable with one murder lizard?" Bob opens a cut, a vicious phrase. Murder lizard has the room on its feet. And the Komodos are headed to Shizuoka for a breeding program. That means a reptile just got better international travel planning than any human who has ever flown Spirit. Counter from the news, the story itself comes back with paperwork, passports, and venom. Meanwhile, the red pandas are probably thrilled. They're like, new country, new bamboo, same lazy personal brand. And the giraffes? The giraffes always look like they just got promoted against their will. They are diplomatic chandeliers. They don't know the issue, they just know they're taller than it. Oh, that's pretty. Diplomatic chandeliers from Bob. That is a seasoned veteran seeing blood. This is the only exchange program I trust. No speeches, no summit, no white paper. Just a giant lizard, 2 red pandas, and 1 giraffe standing there like the per diem got weird. The news sneaks one back. This thing has legs, scales, and absolutely no adult supervision. Honestly, if world leaders had settled disputes by trading zoo animals, I'd watch every summit. You're telling me tariffs are down because Belgium sent over a capybara? That's leadership. Round 1 closes hot. Bob found the weak chin and hit it with a capybara sanction package. After 1 round, Bob takes on activity. The news brought a venomous premise, but Bob answered with chandelier-level accuracy. A cross-screen media analysis argued Disney's churro business generated positive profit while Disney streaming was still losing money, which is an incredible sentence because it means a sugar stick outperformed an empire. This is one of those stories where the setup already feels like a punchline somebody cut for being too stupid. Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, decades of beloved characters. And somewhere in the middle of all that, a churro stepped over the body and whispered, "Move." Bob comes out aggressive in the second. He has stopped respecting the opponent, and frankly, neither have I. Imagine being a Disney Plus executive. You spend years building global strategy, content pipelines, franchise synergy, pricing tiers, bundling, retention models, and then some guy in a visor at a snack cart is the company's closer. Another clean shot from Bob. That executive suite is blinking. That churro has no franchise fatigue, no algorithm problem, no password sharing issues, no prestige drama with a 6-episode drop nobody finishes. It just shows up hot, dependable, and covered in confidence. Bob on a run here. The pastry cannot defend itself, and frankly, it doesn't need to. That churro didn't ask if you were still watching. It assumed you were. That is alpha behavior from fried dough. We have a rally. We have swagger. We have Cinnamon acting like a private equity raider. And Disney can't even be mad because the churro actually does what the company wants all its product to do. Get people in the park, makes them emotional, empties their wallet, leaves sugar on their shirt. That's vertical integration, baby. Big counter from the news. Reality answers with business logic so humiliating it deserves analyst coverage. This is why I don't trust capitalism. You can spend billions building a streaming platform, and a cinnamon baton still walks in like the union boss. Bob goes upstairs with the cinnamon baton. The desk is shaking. And now I'm picturing the quarterly meeting. Any questions? Yes. Why is dessert carrying the stock? Because dessert shows up on time, Kevin. Oh, Kevin is not making it to Q3. Also, this is now connected to round 1 in the worst possible way. The Komodo dragons crossed international borders for a breeding program, and somehow they still have more dignity than Disney streaming. Those dragons are in customs like, we flew here for this? You're losing to Carnival Drywall? Huge moment. Bob cashes the lizard passport callback and blows the roof off this place. But I do have to give the news this. The story detail itself is undefeated. Anytime reality makes you say, the churro is carrying us, that's not a joke. That's a hostage video. Massive response from the news. The premise was already strong and then came back with a profit margin chair shot. The churro is not a snack anymore. It is a board member. It is a consultant. It is one bad quarter away from replacing a vice president named Trevor. The news storms back late. This round has turned into a full scoreboard avalanche. At the halfway mark, Bob is still ahead overall, but round 2 belongs to the news on sheer pastry violence. This fight just changed complexion, cholesterol, and market sector. Researchers studying more than 700 fossils from China's Yunnan province say complex animals were around at least 4 million years earlier than expected, including creatures with bilateral symmetry and body plans closer to modern animals. This is the round where science stops being informative and starts feeling like a threat. They found more than 700 fossils showing complex animals were showing up earlier than expected, which means evolution did not explode. It tinkered. It noodled. It spent a few million years throwing cursed appetizers at the seafloor. Bob starts composed, but you can hear the panic in the cutlery. The experts say these animals had symmetry, movement, recognizable body plans. That sounds elegant until you realize the early lineup still included creatures that looked like a trumpet got lonely in a swamp. The news scores on imagery. The crowd does not like what it's picturing, which means it loves it. And one of these things got nicknamed the bugle worm. That is not a species. That is a marching band injury. That is what happens when a saxophone loses custody of its kids. Clean left hand from Bob. He has identified the weirdest part of the organism and made it everybody's problem. I love scientists because they're so calm describing absolute nightmare fuel. Oh yes, bilateral symmetry emerged earlier than expected. Great, I'm hearing the haunted ravioli got organized. The callback plays. Bob has gone back to the freezer and pulled out the premium nonsense. This whole story feels like Earth beta test life before launch. Okay, this one has tentacles. This one has a tube. This one has a head and an anus. This one looks like a cursed kazoo. Ship it. The news answers right back. The underlying biology is simply too rude to contain. And I know this is supposed to be inspiring. The dawn of complex life, the beginning of us, the first glimpse of the modern animal world. But emotionally, this sounds less like origin of life and more like someone opened the wrong Tupperware in God's fridge. Oh my word! Bob just uncorked one. That is veteran filth with museum funding. Also, do not think I missed the business angle. If Disney hears recognizable shape with no real dignity, Bugleworm gets a spin-off by Thursday. Bugleworm Plus, 2 seasons, 0 profit. Churro still clears. He tied signs back to cinnamon. That's a championship level callback discipline from Bob. But here's where the news steals it back. Because no matter how many jokes I write, I cannot beat the fact that the earliest complex animals apparently looked like someone lost a bet at a seafood buffet. Devastating swing by the news. Bob landed beautifully, but reality just rolled footage of prehistory and the judges love horror. So let the record show, I respect science. I support discovery. I just don't appreciate being told my ancestors may have looked like a diplomatic chandelier mated with a kazoo. The news closes with a mutation of the round 1 callback. That is season corruption from reality itself. Wait, hold on. We have revised judges' totals. There it is, a late controversial adjustment. The commission has reviewed the tapes, smelled the cinnamon, feared lizards, and awarded the night to the news. What we learned. We learned diplomacy improves when it includes reptiles and no microphones. We learned a churro is just a CEO with sugar on it. And we learned evolution did not emerge majestically. It crawled out looking like a haunted buffet and somehow blamed us. Additional scoring after the bell. Perfectly legal on this show. Tonight, Bob won exchanges, callbacks, and several moral victories, but the news won the decision with late pressure, deeper nonsense, and one absolutely untouchable cinnamon baton. That is our show. Until next time, I'm Bob, reminding you that if your company is being outperformed by a theme park snack, do not pivot to streaming, pivot to napkins. Good night. Stay weird, and somebody get those Komodo dragons a better agent.